Welcome back to the OSM channel. In today's video I would like to teach you how to replace the tangential blower fan and motor assembly on a GE built-in double electric oven. My oven, the specific model is ZEK958BM1BB. If you're having the same issue on a different maker model, I'd imagine the replacement process is going to be pretty similar as well. So what does the tangential blower actually do? Well, from my understanding, it sits above the oven, kind of in a void space up here, and it helps to remove excess heat from behind the oven, and it also helps to cool the electronic control panel. So it's really important for regulating the heat outside of the oven, just to ensure that everything doesn't get too hot. Now, unfortunately, we are going to have to pull this unit out of the wall. Before we pull it out of the wall, we're going to remove the doors, remove the shelves, but before we start poking around in this unit, we need to shut off the power. So I'm going to turn on the internal light, go find the appropriate breaker, shut it off, and I'll know that the power is shut off when that light goes out. With the power turned off to the oven, it is now safe to start working on the oven. Now, before we pull this unit out of the wall, I would like to remove some of the weight. I'm going to remove the doors as well as the racks. In order to remove the doors, you're going to need a flathead screwdriver. We're going to flip down this safety lock, do the same thing on both hinges. Also note, this is where I found my make and model information. I'm going to warn you, the door is a little bit heavier than you think, so I'm going to support it with the shoulder, grab either side. We're going to tilt forward and lift up. Now, throughout the repair process, you're probably going to encounter some nasty food and dust and other debris, so have a vacuum handy and just clean up along the way. And we will repeat the process for the lower oven. Remove the door. With the oven doors removed, we can now remove the racks. So once you have the doors and racks removed, look along this flange that sits recessed within the oven cabinet space, and you're going to look for fasteners. You see we have the Phillips head screw right here. I'm seeing 4 on the sides and there are 3 on the bottom, so we need to remove all these fasteners in order to allow us to pull this unit out of the wall. Let's remove this lower trim piece. Using a furniture moving dolly, some cribbing, and a spare piece of plywood, I've created a moving platform that is about the same height at which the oven is at right now. I've also used some rags to help protect the cabinetry, but I should be able to slide this right towards the base of the oven and slide the oven onto this platform. I've slid the oven about halfway out. Looking at the top of the oven, it looks like this is the access panel that we're going to need to get into, so I think we're going to be alright with where we're at. Alright, this access panel looks like we have 5 1/4-inch fasteners. Let's get those removed. What do we have behind door number 1? Bingo! So with that access cover off, we have access to everything we need to get access to. The motor, the electrical connection, so it should be very simple to replace this part from here on out. A few other notes: there are vents on the back of this access panel, and I'm noticing there's a lot of lint and dust in here. So while we're in here replacing this, after I get this out of here, I'm just going to come up here with the vacuum and just get all this dust out of here and try and get this as clean as possible. So in order to remove this motor, this fan, blower, whatever you want to call it, first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the electrical connection. 2 clips, pinch, should pull right out. Now it looks like this blower bolts to the oven frame with these 2 fasteners. I have my 1/4-inch driver. Pull these fasteners out. There's actually 2 more fasteners down in these cracks that we got to remove as well. They also appear to be 1/4 inch. Alright, we got one. So it's giving me a little bit of trouble. The clearance is very tight. I'm going to have to get a socket. 1/4 inch drive, 1/4 inch socket. Oh yeah, this is doing the job now. Just this is non-magnetic, so I'll have to be careful with the fastener. Use my magnetic 1/4 inch drive to pick up that fastener. Let's see if we can get this blower out of here now. Comes out like a glove. Let's line up the motor, get it into position. This rail gets tucked underneath the tin here. So first I'm going to start with the lower fasteners. Yeah, so you can start them just fine with the magnetic driver, but when you finish tightening them off, the lower fasteners, you're going to have to use like a 1/4 inch drive, 1/4 socket. Other tab. So we have our lower fasteners started. Now we'll work on our upper fasteners. If you look at these connectors, notice there are flat spots, so it's impossible to plug this in the wrong way. Went right in. Here's a look at that wire harness retention clip. Pop it in. That is in place, and that prevents that wire from chafing. Because we're finished in this cavity, vacuumed out all the dust, we can reinstall the dust cover. And kind of hard to see, but I have noted today's repair. Tangential Blower, January 2025 with the part number. Alright, now let's slide the oven back into the cabinet cavity. So there's really not too much weight on the dolly. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to pivot it up, putting most of the weight of the oven back into the cabinet cavity, and then just slide it in. One man job. Now the trick is to line up our screw holes on these flanges. Can get this out of the way. Next, I'm going to reinstall the screws on these flanges that hold the oven in place, and I tell you, it's a little bit tricky trying to line these screw holes up for sure. Reinstall this bottom trim piece. Now the racks can be reinstalled. And finally, the door reinstallation. Do I have any tips for door reinstallation? Well, just line everything up. That's the first step. Push back, and then I think it helps to lift the door up some. I'm gonna go out to the garage and turn on the breaker for the oven. turn on that fan. Hopefully we don't hear any noise. Nice and quiet. Good repair. Thanks for watching.